Alright, just got home for the goddamn cinema, watching Supergirl. This is definitely going to be one of my longer movie reviews, because I have a lot to say about this movie, which is funny because it's not a movie that a lot of other people seem to have a lot to say about, and I agree to some part, but we'll get there. The reason I have a lot to say about it is because the new DCU is something that I am extremely excited for. This is going to be a long damn video. So I'm starting with the origins of why I'm excited for this. Number one, the new DCU I'm extremely excited for because, one, James Gunn at the helm. I've loved basically everything he's made since Guardians 1. Like, I really think he is the best comic book director out there. And yeah, some of his movies hit the same notes, but watching Superman last year, all my faith in him was vindicated. I feel like when I sat down and watched Superman last year, that's everything I've ever wanted from a comic book movie. It was bright, it was colorful, it didn't try and be realistic, it was Superman being a hero. Everything that you could want was there, and it also proved that James Gunn could do more than just the team up movies that he always does, because he did this movie, which was a solo movie. It was about Superman, and it was amazing. And I was so hyped for that movie. I was like counting the days down to watch Superman. I watched it, lived up to my expectations. And then, and you know, all the other, I've watched the shows too. Creature Commandos was good. What a ending. Peacemaker season 2 was good. What a ending. But I could forgive both those. Creature Commandos is honestly really good. I feel like not a lot of people saw it, or maybe I'm wrong. That one's really good. The ending is just like, I don't even think the ending is bad. It's just Peacemaker season 2, the ending is kind of bad. But the whole build up to it, the whole season 2 was great, other than basically the final episode. We're getting way sidetracked. I'm talking about Supergirl, but I just want to set the stage. This is one of my most anticipated movies of the year because it is movie number 2 for the DCU here, and the DCU is something, like I said, I've been very excited for. I never really loved the MCU because, I mean, when I was a kid, I liked it, but like once I hit high school, I was kind of done because the movies went downhill after Endgame. Objectively, they did. But even looking back at the ones before Endgame, they weren't that good. There's no MCU movies I ever go back to except for maybe the Guardians trilogy. Well, definitely that. That's really about it. I liked Fantastic Four. I think that was last year. I liked that movie. I had a good time with it. I can't think of any others that I would go back to. I'm not saying they're all bad. I'm just saying like they're just kind of mid. You know, that might be a hot take. I don't know, man. It also doesn't feel like I enjoy comics, man. Like, I like to see the source material adapted faithfully, and I feel like a lot of the MCU movies don't do that. But Superman did that, so I was all in on the DCU. I'm super excited. I still am. Supergirl comes out, and I see it came out yesterday. I just watched it today. I see the reception is kind of mid. People are just saying it's a very mediocre movie. I tried my best to not see people's thoughts on it before I watched it, but I did see people saying it was a mediocre movie, and I did see people saying that the main complaint I saw was it doesn't adapt the comic faithfully, artistically. Like, the art style is not like the comic, and I haven't read Woman of Tomorrow, but I'm familiar with it. I haven't read any Supergirl comics at all, so I was going in blind to this. I don't know if this was a faithful adaptation of the character or not, but I do know, like, visually, yeah, it wasn't a faithful adaptation of the comic book. Because the comic book is fucking beautiful. I've not read it, I've just seen it, and it blows me away. I gotta read it one of these days. And this movie is also beautiful visually, which that right there is probably a hot take, because I see so many goddamn people saying this is like a bland movie to see, like, visually. It's not. Like, it's just not. Like, it's not what the comic is. Yeah, for sure, it's not as visually beautiful as a comic. But it's still visually beautiful. I'll get there when I get there. I'll explain why. Let's just go down what I usually go down, the main bullet points, starting with plots. I'm gonna avoid spoilers because the movie's so new, so spoiler free. I'm not gonna summarize the plot like I usually do, but the plot in the script is my biggest problem with the entire movie, and that's just because it's mid. There's not the story is just okay. The story at its worst, this movie is mid. It's never bad, it's just mid. And the middest thing about this movie is the plot. I just don't have much to say about it because there's just nothing to say. It's just, I feel like I've seen this before. There's a kid who's hell-bent on getting revenge on this guy who did something bad to her family. And Kara is kind of helping her because she also has a reason to go after this guy. But the kid's kind of tagging along with her because she wants to get revenge, and Kara's kind of trying to stop her, like, no, don't get revenge, it'll corrupt you, blah blah blah. It's just a very bland plot, and I feel like I had a lot of issues with the pacing because it just feels like we're all over the place. The first half of the movie, really the whole movie, the pacing feels all over the place. One moment you're here, next moment you're there seeing something kind of unimportant, next moment you're somewhere else. The movie starts with probably one of my favorite parts of the movie. It's just like a montage of her and Crypto getting drunk and like, you know, having a good time, whatever. That was awesome. But then you go straight from that to the backstory of the girl, right? Then you go from that back to Kara. She's at a bar and the girl shows up at the bar. And then you go from that and all of a sudden you're like in a space bus with like some side plot kind of. Then you go from that and you're somewhere else. I feel like they were just jumping all over the place and you're not anywhere for a long enough time for anything to feel important. I don't think it's a like terrible thing. It's just kind of, they could have done the pacing better and they could have wrote it better. I don't have much to say about the plot because it is just painfully nothing. It is painfully mid. So yeah, let's just move on. I can't talk about the plot much anyways without getting into spoilers. Or maybe I'll talk about spoilers in the end a little bit, but for now, no spoilers. Moving on, characters, performances, and yeah. Who are the main characters in this movie? You got four characters, I'd say. Kara, the kid who I already forgot the name of, Lobo, and the villain, Krem. Starting off with the strong points, Kara and Lobo. Kara is great. I feel like she is pretty well written. Like I said, I'm not familiar with any source material, so I can't say how accurate she is. She was doing a lot of killing, I noticed, which I don't know if she kills in the comics. It seems to fit her character, like she would kill based on what I'm seeing in the movie. But I don't know if she kills in the comics, or I don't know. She's done well. She's portrayed really well. Millie Alcock does a great job with Kara. Just a very solid character. You do kind of care for her, especially because this was terrible for the pacing, but in the middle you have like a flashback to Planet Krypton before it blew up. That's like a 15-minute scene in the middle out of nowhere, like literally out of nowhere. Pacing is bad, like I said, but it does help you care about the character a lot. After the scene, I really did care for Kara, because you see the scene and it explains why she is the way she is, and then you see her get her redemption kind of at the end, and it makes for a satisfying character arc, and I liked it. I liked Kara's character. I liked the way she was portrayed a lot. Yeah, and overall, pretty great. Next, Lobo, my favorite part of the movie. It's just a shame that he wasn't in it too much. It almost feels like he didn't need to be in here at all. He didn't, like, genuinely, I think he showed up 3 times, and the scenes were, like, decently long scenes. He showed up about 3 times. He didn't do anything important until the 3rd time. Or I guess it was 4 times, whatever. And he didn't do anything important until the last time that he showed up. But every time he's on screen, it's amazing. Jason Momoa did a fantastic job portraying Lobo. I know he really wanted the role. I'm glad he got it because he did an amazing job. And like costume design wise, he looks incredible, like actually incredible. So you have this going for you. You have an amazing portrayal by Jason Momoa, amazing costume design, and then every time he's on scene, he's just being like a fucking badass, smoking a cigar. Like I swear to God, every time you cut to him, he's taking the cigar out of his mouth. He rides his motorcycle, and every time you see him, there's fights. And the fights in this movie are pretty great, in my opinion. Especially when he's fighting. His fight scenes are great. And I love the fact, you know, I'll get to it in a bit. But overall, Lobo, amazing part of the movie. My favorite part of the movie. It's just a shame that he wasn't in there more, and he wasn't very important to the plot at all. Until the end, like literally until the last scene, he didn't need to be in the movie. But I'm glad he was. Then you have the two, so I think 4 main characters in this movie, right? 2 really strong ones, 2 weak ones, unfortunately. This is the other blunder that the movie has for me, is 1, the villain, and 2, the girl. I think the villain is undeniably a blunder, and I'm gonna speak on it right now. The villain, Krem, the worst thing this movie is mid. Like I said, the plot and the script are mid, and the other thing that's mid is the villain. The villain is very forgettable. He's just like kind of a nothing villain. They don't try to make him seem that imposing. Like he's kind of like a slime ball. Kind of. Like they don't go enough into that cowardly slime ball character to really call him that. He's just kind of a nothing burger. He's a nothing character. He's not that imposing. He's not that slimy. You know what I mean by slimy? Villains don't always have to be imposing. They could also be like scumbags. Slimy fucking scumbags, like cowardly fuckers who just, when they're in power, they're taking control over everyone, acting super confident, but the moment shit goes awry, they turn super cowardly. Like things like that. That's like a scumbag, a slime ball character. I feel like they try to make him that, but they just didn't go enough in that direction. So he's just like in this weird limbo of like kind of imposing and kind of a slime ball, but not enough in either direction. So he's just like in the middle of nothing. He's nothing. He's a mid character. It's just not a good villain. You're not going to remember this villain. Even visually, design-wise, he's all right. I feel like I've seen this exact villain design in like an MCU movie. I don't know. The girl, on the other hand, who I already forgot the damn name of, people, this might be a hot take. I did not like the girl. She's just so annoying. The whole movie until the very end, she kind of, like the last 5 minutes, she redeems herself a little bit. But throughout the whole goddamn movie, she's so fucking annoying. And it's just like, I just watched a movie like this. I can't even remember what, but I remember thinking this exact same thing. It's like, it's literally the trope of like the bratty fucking kid who thinks they're super strong and can do anything, but in reality, they're fucking nothing. This kid is nothing. Like, she thinks she's gonna take on the villain and kill him, but she can't fight. She literally cannot fight. And the whole movie, she's like, oh, take me to the villain so I can stab him in the back or some shit. But then the moment there's any fight, she's like fucking doing nothing, just getting saved by Kara the entire time. It is unbelievable. Just like this, it made me so fucking mad the whole movie. I was just like, God, get this fucking kid out of here, please. It's actually, I do not care about your backstory. Also, if they really wanted it to be tragic, she rebounded way too quickly from what happened. Like, one day that happened, and literally like the night of, I'm pretty sure, she's asking for help to hunt down this guy. And they're kind of making it comedic, like, because she, like, there's a bit throughout the movie where every time she meets a new character, she introduces herself and she's like, I am blank blank of this village tribe, this bastard cold-bloodedly, like, she has this fucking spiel that she gives to everybody. So like, the moment, I'm pretty damn sure the night of this tragic thing happens to her, she goes to a dive bar, which is where Kara was, and she just gives a spiel, and it's played off for like comedic effect, comedic purposes. If you want me to care about this character, the night of this tragedy, don't make a mockery out of her, number one. And number two, don't make her so goddamn annoying. Like, I swear, I know kids are stupid, man, but I feel like kids aren't so stupid that they would be trying to take on something that is so clearly they cannot take on. You cannot fight. She does not know how to fight, but she wants to kill the villain. Make it make sense. Anyways, that's like that's the whole movie, is just her trying to get to this villain and Kara being like, no, you don't want revenge. Revenge is bad. But even if she did want revenge, how was she gonna get revenge without Kara? Because she's weak as fuck. They just didn't give you enough for you to care about her, especially not to justify her being this goddamn annoying throughout the whole movie. Like, I did not like that character at all. But moving away from characters, let's talk about the world, which is what everybody seems to have a lot to say about in this movie, including me. Let's talk about the positives that I think are undeniably positives about this world. It takes place in the DCU, of course, and like the DCU Superman movie and all the other DCU properties, it really feels like this world is alive already. Like, the DCU feels like it's been existing for years now. It doesn't feel like this is the beginning of it, like it's just now being born. You're seeing all these new heroes rise. It feels like a world where heroes, villains, and everything in between has been existing for hundreds of years. You saw that in Superman and all the other shows that James Gunn put out, and you see that in this movie too, and I really like that. I mean, Superman is in this movie, he's not like prevalent throughout it, but he's in there a good few times. In the beginning of the movie, he's there calling her, and it's just like reminds you, oh yeah, this is this universe. When Lobo's introduced, this is what I was gonna say when I was talking about Lobo. I love the way they introduced Lobo. He's not, they know him. They know of him already. Kara says, oh, it's like she sees Lobo and she's like, duck, duck. That's the immortal guy who killed his whole planet and did this and this. Like, these characters feel like they have pre-established lore. They're not just now being born, you know, just now being turned into heroes and villains. And I love that. That's more of a plus for the DCU as a whole so far than just this movie, but this movie continues that, and I did like that. You're moving a lot of places throughout this whole movie, like through the galaxy and shit, and the main complaint I saw people have, like I said earlier, is that it's not vibrant and it's plain nothing looking planets, and I completely disagree. I don't think it's as beautiful as the comic, no doubt. It's not as close, even close to as vibrant and beautiful as the comic, but it's beautiful. Like, I started the movie and I was seeing all these different places and I was thinking, wow, these places are really visually beautiful. I wonder when it's going to stop, because people complain about this. That was like the main complaint I was seeing, but it never stopped until the last place, the last planet. You stay on there for a long time and it's very drab. I'll get there in a sec. I'm saying all these places are beautiful because they're colorful, man. There's neon signs everywhere, and the lights are really, all the lights that you see are like blown out, so they really illuminate everything. And there's colors too. Like, I don't know what we're talking about. Like, the movie starts, where are the places the movie starts? You see her ship a lot, which is like completely orange inside. It's very vibrant. Then you're at a dive bar, and it's completely blue, and there's like a disco shit going around, and that's very vibrant as well. Then you're kind of, when you're jumping from planet to planet for a little bit, you're seeing all these different places, and they're all like kind of lit up too. Like, it was visually beautiful, I thought. Like, it wasn't the most visually beautiful thing I've ever seen in my life, but I thought it was good. And even I saw a lot of people complaining, I keep saying that, but I did. A lot of people complaining about a lot of the places just look yellow, kind of like Mad Max. I love Mad Max, not to hold it against Mad Max at all, but a lot of people were saying it looks kind of just drab. And there are 2 places that fit that criteria. And yeah, they are the 2 places that you're in the longest throughout the movie. It's the last 2 places, basically. The last planet that you're on, and the last planet you're on is a barren wasteland, and then you have the second to last planet you're on, which is kind of like a nation in poverty. Yes, it is a very run down and drab looking place, but every single light that they showed in that place, every light is blown out, and it illuminates the place, and it's not just yellow lights, they're different colors too. So they wanted to portray this drab environment, but they still managed to make it colorful, I thought, because they had these lights, like all the lights, every light source in the movie illuminates everything. Like, there's a shot where they panned out and they kind of showed the whole city from the, like a big, what's it called? A big shot from the back, you know what I mean? You see the whole city, and it's like completely lit up. It's so lit up. I thought they did a good job with that. When Lobo comes in, I swear I remember there being like a light purple tint throughout the battlefield where they were fighting with Lobo the first time. Overall, I thought the world was pretty good. Like, I preferred Superman's vibrant colors more. Superman was more vibrant, but this movie was also vibrant. It just falls off visually. The last planet they're on, which they're on for a good chunk of time, I'll give you that. They're on there for like 20-25 minutes. It's nothing. It is the most nothing planet of all time. It really is. But the whole movie up to that, I think it looks visually pretty good. Pretty beautiful, I would say. Just the last planet is a nothing burger of a planet, and it's kind of is just like, and I can kind of give them the pass because that's like the big fight scene. That's where they do their big fight at the end of the movie, but it is just visually an eyesore. Honestly, the last planet, it's nothing. Overall, I thought the CGI was very good in this movie. I didn't have a single problem with the CGI until the end, the very end as well. I feel like they ran out of budget a little bit, but it's weird because I'm talking about the very, very end, the final fight, like the final fight where they're not even on the ship anymore, when they're down on the planet, and it's Kara. They do like this big fight with Kara beating up all these goons, and in some parts this is the best CGI in the whole movie. There's a sequence where she has one guy and she's like taking him on the fucking ride of his life, like smashing him repeatedly against the ground over and over again, and it looked amazing. It actually looked amazing. This is exactly the kind of combat I want in my superhero movies, and the combat overall this whole movie is very strong. I liked it. But and other scenes in that final fight, especially the scenes where they panned to her face, where they showed like the front shot of her face and she's flying, looked complete dog shit. I'm talking like, it's so clearly she's just flying over a green screen. There's one scene right at the end where she flies in to pick up the girl who I was complaining about earlier, and that shit looks like ass. That shit looks like ass, dog. But at the same time, it's in that same fight scene where you have, I feel like, some of the best CGI and some of the best choreography fights of the movie. So it does fall off a little bit at the end, but it also gets stronger at the end. It's weird. It goes up and down at the end. But whatever. CGI overall I thought was pretty good, other than a few scenes. Alright, next on my list of shit to talk about is just soundtracks, cinematography. Soundtrack was very good in this movie, as I expected. James Gunn is not directing this one, but I feel like he's gonna make sure all these movies have good soundtracks. Soundtrack was great. And I don't have much to say about it because it was mostly, I don't remember much of the OST. I just remember the songs that they played throughout the movie, and they were good. They matched a lot of the scenes. There was a lot of music moments. The final song they played, though, it's just such like a nitpick. This is such a nitpick. The final song they played during the final fight, I didn't really like it. I don't feel like it matched the tone of the movie, but whatever. Like, what are you gonna do? And the cinematography overall, like I said, it has to do with the world. It was pretty good. It wasn't there weren't any shots that fucking blasted me out of my chair and blew me away. But overall, the cinematography was good. It wasn't like ugly shot. You know, that's not a fucking good way of saying that, but you know what I'm trying to say? There were some notable frames of the planets and shit that you're on that did look absolutely beautiful. So they did a good job in that way. And comparing this to like 70-80% of the MCU movies, this movie is far more vibrant and beautiful to look at than any of those. And I fully believe that. I'm not an MCU hater, even though I said I would only take like the Guardians movies and a few others. I'm not an MCU hater. Like, I understand what those movies did and how good they were at the time. It's just, going back now, they're all kind of painfully mid, other than a select few. Guardians trilogy, I like Fantastic Four, there's a few others I'm forgetting. Lastly on here, I have notable scenes. Most notable scenes for me were anything with Lobo. I'm telling you, everything with Lobo went hard as fuck, and they knew it went hard. Like, he's just in there fucking aura farming, styling on these fucking people. It's amazing. It is actually amazing. It's like, it's a shame that he wasn't really that important to the plot. He was just kind of there, but I'm glad he was there, like I said. Also, the movie gets surprisingly, it's a more gross and violent movie than I thought it would be. I guess it makes sense. Yeah, thinking about it, Superman has to be the more kid-friendly movie, and I agree. Superman shouldn't be doing some of the shit that was in this movie. Not that they did anything fucking extreme, but there's like a lot of scenes that are kind of gross. Like, she gets stabbed and she's like bleeding pretty profusely at one point. She throws up like 3 times during the movie or some shit. There's like a joke about not having balls and like a bunch of other kind of like more mature jokes, I would say, which kind of surprised me. I'm glad they did it. I honestly, if it was up to me, every movie in the DCU would be rated R. No, not. I take that back. There's some movie, like Superman shouldn't really be rated R. But if they wanted to, like when he kills a guy in Superman, there could have been blood. You know, there could have been. I wouldn't have minded. It makes sense for him to not be rated R though. So not every movie would be rated R. But I really hope when they're making these movies, I really hope that they're not holding it back because rated R movies make less money. You know what I mean? I hope this movie was PG-13 because they wanted it to be PG-13, because they made the movie exactly the way they wanted it to. Then they gave it to the big higher-ups and they said this is the movie, and they got labeled PG-13. Not because they wanted to make something rated R, but they were like, okay, we got to tone it down here and here to get a more PG-13 movie. I hope that's not what happens with any of the movies in the DCU. And there's a lot of rated R projects coming up. Like, I'm really hyped for Clayface. Aside from the Lobo scenes, I really did like Kara's story arc. I think that one goes above mid for this movie. Seeing how she starts, seeing why she's that way, and then seeing her, you know, recover at the end. Or though, to be fair, I'm not really sure what made her recover. Did she just like care for that girl or something? I'm not sure entirely what it was that happened. But I'm glad, like, she deserves it. It was like, I'm not sure. I think the way it was done is kind of stupid. Like the flashback scene kind of came out of nowhere and it took a really long time. And then I'm not sure what exactly made the switch at the end for her to recover. But just seeing the flashback and then seeing the end and seeing how she's at the beginning, I was just really happy for the character. I was thinking to myself, man, I'm happy this turned out this way. There's a really great scene with David Cornsweat's Superman talking to her at the end of the movie. And fucking David Cornsweat, every time he was on screen, I fucking came in my pants a little bit. Like, he's fucking born to play this role. He's perfect. He's actually perfect. But yeah, there's a good, really touching scene at the end, and I like that. And yeah, I think overall, the movie is a 7 out of 10 for me, which I'm seeing a lot of 5s and 6s flying around. I don't think it's that bad. I think maybe I'm a little bit biased, but I went into this movie like ready to hate it based on everything I'd seen. I thought it was just gonna be a painfully mid experience, and I was shockingly surprised. Not blown out of my chair or anything, but it's not a blunder. This movie's not a blunder. It's like a 7 out of 10 movie. The worst it is mid, and there's a lot of mid. Don't get me wrong. The writing, I mean the script and the villain are probably the 2 weakest parts of this movie, and they're pretty weak. But there's a lot of highlights in this movie for me. There are. I feel like the environment is a highlight for me. No matter what people say, other than The Last Planet, I thought the environment looked really good. I know what comic is adapted from. I'm putting that to the side. Taking this movie for what it is. I'm not comparing it to the comic. The environment was a highlight for me. Kara's story arc was a highlight for me. A lot of the montages were a highlight. Lobo was a highlight. There was a lot of really fun sequences throughout the movie too. I think it's overall a decent 7 out of 10, like light to mid 7 out of 10. I'm seeing how bad this movie is flopping, and it is really a shame. And it really is a shame because I don't know, man. Okay, this is now we're past Supergirl now. What were they thinking with this? DC was in a position with Superman where they needed to win the goodwill of everybody back, and I think they did it about to the best of their ability. They put out Superman, which for me is an incredible movie, one of the best comic book movies that we've ever had. It did pretty well. It was a successful movie in the box office. Perfect start. Like, you cannot ask for a better start than that. Realistically. Like, this movie wasn't going to be a blowout success. I feel like they had realistic expectations for it, and it met those expectations, maybe even exceeded them a little bit. But you had a perfect start to the DCU. You're winning everybody's trust back. And then you have 1 year. They're going to make you wait 1 year for the next movie, which is fine, but it's Supergirl. I have nothing against Supergirl, but you have to think of this from the general audience perspective. Somebody who doesn't read comics. If I didn't read comics, I would see Supergirl and I would be, what the fuck? I'm not watching that shit. It's just Superman, but they made him a woman. I would just be like, why would I want to watch? It just seems like a gender swapped character for the sake of gender swapping, which it is not in the slightest. It is not at all. I know that because I'm familiar with the comics. I'm familiar with the DC world, but the average consumer probably just thinks that. So no, they're not going to go out of their way to watch this movie. When Superman came out, all my friends who don't care about comics went to see the movie. Supergirl's out, not a single fucking one of them went to see it. Nobody went to see the fucking movie. Because it's just not an interesting concept of a movie. Like, that's something you could put out way down the line. Or at least 3 or 4 movies down the line, once you have everybody's goodwill and faith in you restored. So already I think it was a stupid idea having Supergirl be movie number 2 for the DCU. But then on top of that, it's just kind of a fine movie. Like, I like it more than most people do. I give it like a 7. Realistically, it's in the 5, 6 to 7 ballpark range. I think 5 is way too low. 7, that's just my opinion. I think I could see a lot of people giving it a 6. A 6 out of 10 is not good enough in this modern era of superhero fatigue. You need something that's going to really blow people away. I feel like Superman really blew people away, even people who don't give a shit about comics, to see this character fully realized for the comic book version of himself that he is in this vibrant world. The day Superman came out, I walked out of that fucking theater mind blown. Actually, I don't think mind blown is the right word, because it didn't fucking blow my mind. It just met every expectation I needed it to meet for me and went slightly above and beyond them. It was everything I think a fan would want, and that translates into just a good movie, because the fans want what's best for the fucking franchise most of the time. And that just translates into being a really good movie that had a lot of success with all audiences, right? So then you have that movie and people give it, their 8 out of 10, maybe give it a 9 out of 10, and that carries weight. And now you're thinking, okay, they're making movies that aren't just superhero movies, they're just movies. And this movie is just a superhero movie. It's not anything really beyond that. If you watch it for a superhero movie, you'll have a good time, like I did. It doesn't go really beyond that. I don't know. I think they were in a position where they really could not afford to fuck up, and they fucked up. I don't think the movie's a fuck up. Like I said, I like the movie, but in the box office and in the general audience's perspective, they kind of blundered here. And it's so important that this movie was not a blunder. It is so important. I don't know what they were thinking. I really don't. They could have done anything else for this movie, and they gave it to a fucking writer who has no writing credits. And of course, then the weakest part of the movie is the script and the villain. The villain, whatever. The script is the weakest part of the movie. Like, dude, really? Really, man? We're not in this position where we can afford these blunders, especially right off the gate like this. But yeah, anyways, I'm done. The movie's a 7 out of 10. Go watch it. I liked it. I had a fun time. If you like Superman, if you like the DCU, like if you were as hyped for the DCU as I am, you'll have a good time with the movie. I had a good time with the movie just seeing different parts of the DCU alive and active, like seeing Lobo, seeing Superman. There's a lot of fun to be had here. Seeing Crypto again, it's a fun movie. Go watch it. I'm out of here.